Good evening. It's been a while, hasn't it? You know, go on Christmas break for a little bit, enjoy some time off. But here on the AV Realm, we're back to the grind, and here on the Caleb Show, the grind never ends. And since I promised last time we talked about some British trains today, I decided I would choose a personal favorite of mine. So to the ones who always want to know, Caleb Cagle, what is your favorite steam locomotive? This episode's for you. So what is this locomotive? Well, simple. The LBSCR L-Class, or London Brighton South Coast Railway L-Class. See, in 1914, the LBSCR was suffering from a lack of a powerful express locomotive. And so the chief mechanical engineer at the time, L.B. Billington, drew up two locomotives, a 460 tender engine and a equivalent 464 tank engine. Orders were made for both locomotives to be built, but after a tank engine was built, which was at the time numbered 327, the tender engine was ordered changed to a tank engine. These tank engines are the LBSCR L-Class. The first one, 327, Charles C. McCree, was named after a chairman of the LBSCR at the time. After it was built during and trial testing, were found that the locomotive was extremely unstable at high speeds due to large water tanks on the side, which were sloshing around, causing the locomotive to be, well, unstable. So internally, these tanks were cut in half, and a well tank, which is a tank between the frames, were added to help lower the center of gravity. And this was also done once the second locomotive was built, 328, World War. All locomotives were pushed back to October of 1921, with the last 5 noble numbers being built, with 329, the third locomotive, being named Stephenson after the inventor of the steam locomotive, and 333, the last member, Remembrance, having the honor of carrying a plaque to honor the fallen soldiers of the LBSCR who served in the First World War. The L-Class had a rough time in 1923, when the London Brighton South Coast Railway, the London South Western Railway, and the South East Cumbrian Railway all combined to form the Southern Railway. The locomotives gained 2,000 to their numbers and were repainted in manual green. Their time on the London Brighton South Coast line had come to an end due to the line getting electrified in 1933 and sent to Eastborough Line to pull trains to London, but plans for electrification cropped up and they were made relevant again. But at this time, the LBSCR L-Class had some problems. They were capable for their size, but were severely underpowered. This was due to their 8-inch piston valves when compared to their 22-inch cylinder and low boiler pressure at 170. Their fuel range was also limited when compared to the N15, which was more numerous and was the primary mixed traffic locomotive of the Southern Railway at the time. With the L-Class being relatively new alongside having 9 spare boilers, it was decided to just rebuild them into more conventional 460 tender engines. So from 1934 to 36, all the classes were rebuilt, becoming the N15X class. The conversion involved removing the trailing wheels, the tanks, the old cab, and cutting down their frames before adding a brand new cab, which was similar to the Lord Nelson, a new blast pipe chimney, a boiler pressure increase to 180, alongside smoke deflectors, and a Uri tender. The first locomotive to be converted was Stephenson, which at the time was 2,329, and the last was 2,331, which gained the name Betty. All locomotives except Remembrance and Stephenson gained names or renamed, as in the case of 2327. The new class was based at 9 Elms and used on the Rotherham and Southampton trains. The N15Xs gained a poor reputation at times for high fuel consumption and rough riding and were relegated to secondary duties. The only good thing reported of them was their high wheel acceleration when compared to the N15. And during the Second World War, Hacksworth was in a 9 Elms shed when an air raid happened and, well, he got hit with a bomb. This was the same one that actually took out that T-14 all the way back in the first episode. But Hacksworth survived and was repaired alongside with 4 N15s that were also in the blast. And from 41 to 43, the N15s were loaned to the Western Railway for freight work. Then came the British Railway days. In 1948, they were given 30,000 to their numbers, and by this point, the Blue Pacifics had took over, alongside them being relatively small and non-standard. It was decided to start withdrawals in 1955. Hacksworth was the first to be withdrawn in January of 1955, Cutsworth August of the same year. Theravic was withdrawn after running rear first into a train in December of that year, and was withdrawn in January of 1956. Shirley around the same time withdrawn, and Remembrance in April of 56, and Stephenson and Betty in July of 1956. So here comes the question I think some of y'all might have been asking. Why exactly is this my favorite locomotive? Well, at the time when I first saw them, I was relatively new to the whole train enthusiast thing. And what interested me was just the idea of a large tank express locomotive, because I view tank engines as something about yay big, and most express locomotives were about yay big, and when considering the time period, it was just a unique idea to me, just having large unit tank engines. I love them so much, I got a little model of them right here. So I've been Caleb Cagle. This has been another episode of The Caleb Show. I'd like to thank you for your time, and sincerely, have a good day.